Hey, scientists! Hi, friends. Nice to see you. How are you? Good. I'm Jen, the entomologist of Tiny Science. Are you ready for a science class? All right, good. Now listen, we're going to talk about insects, but usually we just talk about insects. But science class has two parts. The first part is the lecture. That's the part where the teacher talks and you listen and you learn so many interesting things. And then lab is the other part. And lab is when you go to your tables and you touch the things or you look at the things and you talk about the things and you ask questions about the things. Lab is so much fun. Lecture is really important too because it's when you learn about what you're about to see in lab so you can think the big thoughts and ask the big questions. We do a lot of lecture. I love lecture. But I think it's time for us to do a lab. Are you ready for lab? Okay, super. So today's lab, we're going to talk about the holometabolist life cycle. Have you learned about the holometabolist life cycle? Can you say holometabolist? I just love saying it. We should say it a lot. The holometabolist life cycle. Now, the holometabolist life cycle is a life cycle that some insects do. It depends on the insect. For example, beetles are holometabolists, flies are holometabolists, butterflies are holometabolists. That's just some of the examples. There's about 30 different groups or orders of insects, and some of them are holometabolists, and the others are hemimetabolists. Now, holometabolists, we know it because we can sing the song. Holometabolists has 4 life stages, and let's sing them. Are you ready? Get your snappers ready. Okay, it goes. Egg, larva, pupa, adult. That's right. Egg, larva, pupa, adult. One more time. Egg, larva, pupa, adult. Good job, friends. Thanks for singing along with me. I have so much fun thinking of you. Okay, so that was a holometabolist life cycle, and that's the life cycle we're looking at today in lab. So since we have a life cycle is just the circle of life, right? The stages that any animal or plant or organism goes through in its life. And so we have the egg, larva, pupa, adult, and then the adults get together and make new eggs before then they die. That's that complete life cycle. It's kind of more of an S. That's rough. Okay, moving on. So the life cycle that I brought today, I have a life cycle ongoing that I teach with. It's a farm. A farm is a place where the farmer takes a plant or an animal all the way through its life cycle. So you start with a seed, like corn, watermelons, right? What do you farm? Any of that. Start with the seed, nurture it, soil, water, sun, and it grows into a seedling, and then on again until it makes watermelons, which are full of seeds that make new watermelons. See how it goes? So that's a farm, a watermelon farm. You could have an animal farm too, where you have babies that grow and then make new babies, like pigs we could talk about. And then those babies, see how it goes? It's the life cycle. So that's what a farm is about. A farm is about keeping the life cycle. Interestingly, a ranch is a place where people take an animal or plant that's already started and grow it up all the way before they sell it. Isn't that interesting? A ranch versus a farm. Farm goes around and around, and ranch takes from that. It's interesting to think about agricultural. Okay, moving on. Back to my farm, which is not quite the scale you're thinking of. Are you thinking about a farm? I can think about a farm. My grandparents both had farms. I'm looking at their pictures right now. There's barns, tractors, a lot of smells. I miss those smells. Now that I'm an entomologist, my farms are a little bit smaller. Are you picturing a farm? Today's lab is about my farm. I'll show you my farm. Here it is. That was really quick, wasn't it? Is this what you were thinking of with the farm? It's got animals going around their life cycle. There's food, there's poop. All right, let's have a closer look at this. All right, this is me being my own camera person. Oops, sorry. There we are. Okay, here's our laboratory. This is our farm. Now this farm is full of food, which is shredded wheat. You might have seen this before. Here's a piece of shredded wheat. That just came from the grocery store. And I crumbled it up and put it in here. And these beetles, this farm is full of beetles. Oh, I should have said that. This is a beetle called a darkling beetle that we actually know is a mealworm beetle. Do you know about mealworms? A lot of you know about mealworms. Mealworms, you can get them at the not the grocery store. Soon though, maybe. Anyway, mealworms, you can get them at the pet store as feeder insects because they like to be eaten by a lot of things. A lot of reptiles like to eat them, and hamsters. If you have a hamster or a mouse or another rodent, they love to eat mealworms. It's a special treat. They gobble them up. So anyway, mealworms are pretty common because they're very easy to breed. They make lots of them. And they're a pest animal that they like to live in grain or cereal. And so they live on farms or granaries, and they hide in crevices, and they're really good at doing that. So these guys like to be under. Here's an adult for you to look at. Yeah, I bet you got a lot of questions about what you're seeing here. There's lots of adults, and none of them are moving except for this one. What the heck, right, Jen? Yeah, well, honestly, I don't keep my farm super duper clean because they dry out, and the dead ones dry out, and they don't cause a lot of trouble. I keep my farm clean enough, trust me. But I do keep the dead animals in there because they're interesting to talk about. It's interesting and important to talk about death. It's something we all wonder about. Let me get a piece of paper here. We're all concerned about, but we are uncomfortable talking about it. So I keep dead animals in my farm. There's a dead beetle, that's an adult, so that we can talk about it. And it's easy to tell that it's dead. Obviously it's not moving, but also the way that the legs are positioned is very asymmetrical. Sorry, I'm not paying attention to my camera work here. This is not my usual job of doing both camera work and lab, but I think it's going all right. Wish I could hear your questions better. Just a little bit louder, please. All right, let's get back to our live beetle here. So we have a lot of things in here. What do you think these are? Yeah, what do you think that is? Yes, it's a baby carrot. I put those in here yesterday. They like them. Look at all the work that's been going on. These have been gobbled up by a lot of adults, but also, okay, so we have the baby carrot, we have the shredded wheat food, but also these guys. Who's this? Let's take this over to our page here. Let's see. Where's my camera? There we are. Sorry about that. It's not dead. I know it looks dead, but if we look at its color and also its shine, if you know what I mean, it's kind of on the full side. You know, if you have a water balloon and it's kind of an old balloon, or even an air balloon, and it's kind of getting old, it kind of starts looking wrinkly, and you can tell the difference between a new balloon and an old balloon. That's also the case with, you know, living things. You can kind of see that. And I think you usually know how that is. It's just hard to know for sure. Now, this guy's not moving much. And that's because he's probably really close to molting. Molting is when an animal loses its outer layer, its shell or its skin or whatever. We molt, but we just molt a little bit at a time. But these guys molt all at once. Let's see, I'm sure I've got a skin exoskeleton here. There we are. And when these guys, their shell or exoskeleton doesn't stretch. And so when they are full inside of it and they need to grow, then they have to go through a process called molting, where they kind of do a lot of body hiccups. And those body hiccups help loosen them from the inside of their shell. There's also a whole bunch of hormonal processes that are very interesting, but we won't get into right now. That would be a lecture all in itself, the molting lecture, which I am looking forward to. And anyway, these guys start doing a hiccuping kind of thing to loosen up. It's kind of like if you're stuck inside of a too tight sleeping bag and you had to do hiccups kind of with your whole body to get out. That's what happens. They do that. But until that time, those hiccups start, until they're ready, their next shell is ready, because you don't want to like break out of your shell and be completely naked, right? So once their under shell, their next exoskeleton is ready, they start going through that process. But when they're not moving very much, that indicates that they are, well, it could be a lot of things, but most likely in this case, it needs to molt. It's just too tight. It's in clothes that are way too tight. And it's going through a hormone process to get out of that shell. And this is what it's going to look like. The empty shell, this is an empty shell. Nobody's inside here. That's like a sleeping bag on the floor. And right after they molt, this is interesting. So I was picking out a whole bunch of individuals from the farm earlier. This is like the larva tank. Let's see, it's going to focus in there. The larva tank. They're wild about this carrot. And look at those tiny babies. You guys, they're so cute. Okay, we'll look more at little babies in a minute. But before it's too late, I want to get to this one. Let me take it carefully. Look at the color difference here. Now, I'm not going to handle that one very much. See if I can get a better focus. Ooh, this one's so active. Now, that's how it's supposed to look. This one that's white and very active, it's white not because it's albino, but it's white because it just molted. This could be its skin. It's probably not. But it just molted. In fact, it's not because it's way too small. Let's let you walk on there and see how you do. And that is the color of the exoskeleton when it's freshly molted. Oh, he's looking to go under. See what I was telling you about them being a good pest? They always looking to hide, especially this one. Okay, so after they molt out of this color. This is a mature exoskeleton or a kind of an oldish exoskeleton. They let go of they come out of their exoskeleton, and then they come out completely white. Oh, he's so cute. His little tail, he didn't know that he was still showing. They come out white. And this guy in 2 days will be the same color as our orange one over here. I'm trying to get better focus. Yeah, maybe it's that it's on a blue. Okay, so anyway. Okay, so that's interesting. Let's get back over to these little guys over here. Look at this tiny baby. Oh, come on, focus now. Oh, it's so cute. That baby, I should use my pointer here. My pointer, just so you get scale, is this big on my hand. And so this is a very small little animal. Very small little animal. So cute. But it's still probably a size 3, which means it's molted 3 times since it's hatched. So they come out even smaller than that, 2 sizes smaller than that. I don't have any smaller than that in this tank. I couldn't find any. I have some young ones. They're so darn cute though. Anyway, they are eating that carrot because that's where they get pretty much all of their moisture. They don't drink water or anything like that. Sorry, that focus isn't great. And so bringing a carrot in, after they've been in a farm, I hadn't given them a carrot for a couple of weeks. Insects are really easy to take care of, you guys. I recommend starting a farm if you're interested in this kind of project and you're sitting here watching this video saying, whoa, that's interesting. This is not a hard thing to do. If you're already going to the pet store for food, you could pick up mealworms there. You could find them online. If you know me, I'd be happy to give you a sample. Start your own. And I have shredded wheat too. So be in touch. These are a really fun little project. They're a super easy pet. You can ignore them pretty much entirely, and they just do their thing. And over time, they turn into this farm. Let's see. So it doesn't look like much, but that dark stuff is their poop, which is dry. It's called frass. It's not a big deal. You could use it to fertilize, whatever. You don't want to get it into your breathing system or eat it or anything like that. Like, I'm definitely wiping my hands, but it's not that big of a deal. So this is a full mealworm farm. Got a ton of larvae. Now, so we were looking at larvae. We've seen larvae so far here, and one that's hiding. They're so cute how they hide. Look at that little guy. He's like, you can't see me. I'm up in a crack. Doing his best, or her best. So we've got the larvae, a newly molted larva, an empty exoskeleton of the larva. But that's only one of the life stages. Eggs are really small. Let's see if we can get back to an egg. Let's see, I'll use my pencil since that one's snuggling against my other tool. Let's see. Looking, I know the focus isn't great. Let's see. Might not find an egg. I see a lot of things that look like eggs, but they're mostly little tiny pieces of food that got eaten so small that they look like an egg. But there's a couple, like this right there at the top of that. Can you see that? At the top of that little dome, that might be an egg. A beetle egg. That's how small they are. Isn't that insane? Okay, so then the baby hatches out of the egg. They're extremely small. They eat and grow and eat and grow and molt. And they molt so many times. They go through a lot of different life sizes in the larva stage. And then this is not what they look like when they're grown up, because this is what they look like when they're grown up. So there's a major change that needs to happen here, right? Not just molting. That's a getting bigger thing. But we're talking about a major change. That is not how you don't go to sleep looking like that and then wake up in the morning looking like that. So they need the pupa life stage, the metamorphosis life stage. Bring our pupa over. This is what actually got me going this morning. Was I was checking my farm and I saw a lot of pupa, which was pretty cool. I have a few guesses why I have a lot of pupa right now, but whatever. We're getting kind of long here. But anyway, I found one pupa that was really white. Here it is. It's kind of even gotten darker since then. Let's see, I'll use my pencil tool. And I always go under. I don't ever poke them because that's really mean, and I don't like to be mean to animals. And so instead of poking, I push and lift. You can see I'm drawing on the page a little bit. Boy, this one was a lot whiter just 3 hours ago. Already it's turning quite darker. Let's see how close I can get here. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you can kind of see how it's like a pearly. Isn't it pretty? Now, look at these. These are pupa. Remember in our drawing? They're all pupa. I always draw pupa. Let's see, I can draw one like this. Like this. Oh, it's so weird looking. They always look like aliens. I'm drawing it through the viewer too. That's pretty impressive. Anyway, so that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about pupa. We've got the, we can sing the song. Let's sing the song. Ready? Head, thorax, abdomen. Head, thorax, abdomen. Did you see how that was? And if we were able to look really closely, can you get focused there? No. We could see their legs in this area. Their legs are tucked up, all 6 legs. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, tucked up. And their eyes are right here. And here's that abdomen. As a pupa, the only way they can move is they can squirm their abdomen. You're seeing it. Yep, that's it. Thanks for putting on a show, pupa. That's a good animal. So they're kind of stuck in a cocoon, like literally. We would, if this was a moth, we would say this is their cocoon. In science we call it the puparium. Can you say puparium? Puparium is great. Pupa is the stage, and then puparium is a little room for a pupa, and we could also call it a pupal case. And they're pupating. There's so many great pupa words. I love etymology. All right, have you seen enough of the pupa? I haven't really shown you around. They look like they're snuggling. They're really vulnerable in this stage, and so I have to be very careful. I try not to handle them with my fingers. If I pick them up, what it takes to pick them up is the same that it takes to kill them. So picking them up is not a good idea. I always use these forceps. These are very gentle forceps. They bend really easily. Can you see how I'm doing that? And so they're really fragile. And I'm not even going to demonstrate because these guys are just too fragile to mess around with. I try to respect pupa. Okay, it's a tough time to change. Oh, there, look, we have our full life cycle, except for the eggs, which are in our farm. Let's revisit the farm. All right. Friends, have we seen enough of this business? I'm trying to think of your questions. We see a lot of animals in there. They like to hide, and that's how they do best. All the ones that don't try to hide get caught. So then they don't have babies. So all the not nervous genes, all the not nervous animals, they don't stick around. So we have mostly just nervous animals here. These guys are harmless. They're great feeders for all animals, including us. A lot of humans eat these larvae. I am still on the fence. I understand that eating insects is a great idea, but it's not something I've done in my history, so that's a challenge. But I understand how these could work really well in a stir fry or on a salad, a crispy salad. I don't know. Am I talking about weird things? It's getting weird. All right, friends. I think, I'll put my camera back so I can say goodbye to you in person. Let me wipe off my hands a little because I've had enough frass in my life. I don't need any more. All right. Hi. All right, friends. Thanks for coming along with me with lab. It's very unusual for me to do that without having friends in my ears. So I really appreciate you coming along. I hope I showed you enough interesting stuff. I'm sure I did. All right. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.